Tonight on the Pulse, cold weather has arrived, but did Penn football squad remain hot? And did the Oski seniors have a warm send-off on senior night?
Also, golfers golfed, runners ran, and volleyballs, well, volleyed. We'll tell you how our city did all in sports next on OSP.
Welcome to Oskaloosa Sports Pulse. I'm Jason Van Zandt.
And I'm Jason Madison.
It's been a long football season for second-year head coach Mark Schilb and his Indians. After a promising 2011 campaign, many fans had expectations of similar success. However, it just wasn't the case. With a 1-7 record, struggling OHS squad stepped onto the field one last time, facing Knoxville, 4-4 overall.
With senior night looming, Oski was pitted against the Panthers, who had an outside chance of making the playoffs, winning its last two games, including a stunning 15-12 upset of number 9 Norwalk the week before. So, who would go out with a bang? We head to Lacey Stadium to find out. After a scoreless first quarter against Knoxville, Oskaloosa is knocking on the visitors' door in the first minute of the second quarter. Fullback Nate Van Veldhuizen lines up on the Panthers' 1-yard line and plunges in to make it 7-0 after the field goal. Later on in the second, with 40 seconds to go, OHS would extend its lead when sophomore Mason Wissey gets the handoff and dives in for another score. The Indians' point after was unsuccessful, so OHS would enter the half up 13-zip and roll on to a 19-13 win to finish the season 2-7. On senior night, the Indians controlled the game by earning all of its yards and scores on the ground, racking up 249 yards and 3 touchdowns. The rushing attack was led by senior Andrew Landgrebe and his 120 yards. However, Van Veldhuizen and Wissey were the ones grinding it out in the red zone and received the touchdowns. On the defensive end, Brandon Strasser and Keoki Gibson headlined the D with 12 and 11 tackles apiece. After the game, head coach Schilb was content with the win and expects that to carry over into the next season.
At times we played real well on offense. At other times, you can see the inconsistency that it's been haunting us this year. But the story of our game here is the defense tonight, except for the let up there at the end. We can't allow that to happen, but good play on the hands team, making the play to seal the deal at the end, and that's where we can build off of defensively for next year.
Trying to continue the winning momentum, we turn the football over to Penn. The undefeated Statesman, ranked 5th nationally in the NAIA, faced its highest-rated opponent of the year, number 9, St. Francis, Indiana. The visitors are coming off back-to-back battles with number 1 ranked teams. The Cougars were successful in beating one and came up a touchdown shy of beating another. But before we get to the action, WPU suffered a devastating blow at the end of the second quarter when two-time All-Midwest League starting quarterback Taylor Parsons was sidelined for the remainder of the game after he rolled his ankle on this tackle. Against an opponent that knows how to play tough, could Penn keep its perfect record? Off to the second half with OSP's J-Matt.
With the home teams back against the wall, down 14-6, Penn sophomore Ed Casanova came out swinging. The sophomore took the opening kickoff, found a lane, and darted 98 yards for the score. Penn still down a point, 14-13, after the PAT. However, a bit of deja vu happened on the following kickoff. This time, the visitors would get the special teams touchdown when the Cougars' Austin Coleman returned the pigskin 100 yards to send St. Francis back up 21-13. Heading into the fourth, Penn was still down 28-19, but in striking distance, thanks to his field goal kicker, Marcus Kerrigan. Before lining up for this 22-yard chip shot, the junior was a perfect 4 for 4 on the day. Nevertheless, this time around when Penn really needed it, the kick ricocheted off the right goal post. From there, the Cougars would hold off the Statesmen, winning 28-19. William Penn outgained St. Francis 367 yards to 317, but scoring just 6 points in 4 red zone trips is where the home team lost it. It was a balanced attack for the Statesmen as they gained 262 yards on the ground and 105 through the air. Freshman quarterback Tyler Hafner, in place of Parsons, finished with a team-high 94 yards rushing and was 4 of 10 through the air for 51 yards.
For the first time in nearly 3 years, William Penn left the home field defeated. The former 5th-ranked Statesmen had their 15-game winning streak snapped. That goes back to November 2009. The record reflects seasons played at the old community stadium as well as the new. Although the losses removes the Navy and Gold from the list of unbeaten teams, now at 4, it was a non-conference game, so the setback won't hurt the program's playoffs hopes. Unfortunately, it did affect Penn's program rankings in the top 25 poll. The Statesmen dropped 6 spots to number 11. The team is no longer the highest-ranked program for the Midwest League, with Grandview entering the top 10 at number 9. The nation's top remains the same, with Marion, Indiana, still number 1, followed by Georgetown, Kentucky, Missouri Valley, Morningside, Iowa, and St. Xavier, Illinois. The Navy and Gold travel for the first time Saturday, going to Deerfield, Illinois to meet Trinity International in league play. William Penn will return home in its last 2 home games against number 11 St. Ambrose on November 3rd, and following that, number 9 Grandview on November 10th.
In Whitting, Indiana, the William Penn volleyball team claimed 2 more wins over the weekend as it competed in the Coleman St. Joseph Crimson Wave Invitational. The Lady Statesmen opened Friday with a 3-1 win over host Coleman St. Joseph, but then later in the day fell 3-2 Northwestern Ohio. Saturday's action yielded those same results as the Navy and Gold won their first game, defeating Michigan Dearborn 3-0 before falling 3-1 to Aquinas, Michigan. WPU returned to Oskaloosa for back-to-back games, starting with a 3-set sweep of MCC foe AIB Tuesday. Finally, in this last home game of the regular season, Lady Statesmen faced non-conference opponent Iowa Westland on senior night. With 2 of Penn's dominant players offensively playing in the last home game, it was only fitting as Lacey Taylor and Katie Riley led the team in stats. In the sweep, Taylor finished with a team best in kills, aces, and digs, while Riley added 8 kills and 2 aces of her own. William Penn travels to Rock Island, Illinois this weekend to compete in the Augustana Trick or Treat Tournament. Oskaloosa competed at districts last week, but who continue to train this week after qualifying for state? OSP knows, and you will too when we come back.
You should see my bank. It can do awesome things. Mom says it's just like the 4 seasons. Always there. Helping communities grow and be a better place to live and work. All because my bank lives here too.
Live Iowa, work Iowa, bank Iowa. Member FDIC.
Bates Funeral Chapel, where community is more than just a location. Where compassion is more than just a feeling. Where history is more than just a time. Bates Funeral Chapel, where service is more than just a word.
The doctor is in and no appointments are needed. Come to Dr. Salami's today and let the doc heal your hunger. Come to Dr. Salami's for friendly staff, casual atmosphere, and good friends. When you get here, you'll be treated to affordable prices, hearty portions, and good food. So come on down to Dr. Salami's today, your place for good friends, good food, good times.
Welcome back. Last week at District's Oskaloosa cross-country teams recorded similar results to the ones at a conference meet 2 weeks ago. OHS had 3 finishers near the top, starting with Bailey Blythe. The freshman led the Oski girls on the 4K course in a time of 16 minutes and 7.8 seconds for 3rd. As a whole, the team came out 8th out of 12 teams with 209 points behind first place, Pella, which finished with 52. On the boys' side, sophomore Skylar DeYoung and Spencer DeYoung ended the districts with top 10 performances. Skylar topped out the 5K course in a time of 16 minutes and 58.1 seconds for 3rd, while Spencer wasn't too far off, finishing in a time of 17 minutes and 21.9 seconds. As a whole, the boys' team filled with sophomores brought home 6 out of 13 teams with 143 points. The Dutch again brought home this year's district championship with 40 points. The 3 state Oskaloosa qualifiers will head to Fort Dodge this Saturday to meet at state.
Moving up to the college ranks, but sticking with the same sport, Valerie McReynolds highlighted Lady Statesman cross-country team when she ran one of the fastest times in the program's history. Saturday at the St. Louis Pharmacy Classic, McReynolds placed 7th out of 78 runners with a time of 19 minutes and 29.6 seconds, the third fastest 5K time in William Penn history. It bettered her old highest mark by 26 seconds. Even with that time in place, Penn didn't have enough varsity runners to compete as a team, so it ended up Washington, Missouri left with the title.
Picking up the golf clubs here in Oskaloosa, the Lady Statesman Lynxsters finally took home the first tournament gold of the year in its own fall classic last Friday and Saturday. William Penn rallied from a 6-shot deficit after a one-day edge to pass Iowa Wesleyan Community College by 1 stroke. The team posted a 2-day total of 642. Senior Courtney Crommuller shot a 155 to take second in the 32-person field. Freshman Demi Kortza and sophomore Maggie Yang were right behind Crommuller in third and posted fourth. Kortza posted a 157 and Yang carded a 158. Because of her performance over the weekend, Crommuller was named the Midwest Collegiate Conference Women's Golfer of the Week. Before this season, the senior had never broken past the 80 barrier. Now she is 3 rounds in the 70 and owns a stroke total average of 82.8. This honor is the third for the year for this program.
On the men's side, things didn't end that well as they did for the women. In Burlington at the Iowa Wesleyan Fun City Classic, William Penn finished 6th out of 7 teams at the par 72 Spirit Hollow Golf Course. Iowa Western Community College won the event with a 619. Senior Adrian DeVillers guided the Navy in gold in a tie for 9th out of 42 golfers. DeVillers finished with 161. Fellow senior Seb Stobart and sophomore Byron Lindeque were also inside the top 20. Stobart was 13th at 164, while Lindeque was tied for 19th at 167. When we return, Penn soccer teams were all smiles this week. We'll tell you how that happened next on OSP.
If you buy the renegade idea that investing should be discussed face-to-face, not just inbox to inbox,
if you believe that your relationship with your investments shouldn't be long distance,
join the nearly 7 million investors who think like you do. FaceTime and ThinkTime make a difference.
Join us.
At Edward Jones, it's how we make sense of investing.
Visit one of your friendly Oskaloosa reps today.
Promise me, son, not to do the things I've done. I'm gonna love you forever, forever and ever, amen.
I'm begging of you, please don't take my man.
I turned 21 in prison, doing life without parole. The biggest stars, the classic hits, KIIC. Go Hawks, go Cyclones!
Go to Mahaska in Oskaloosa for all things black and gold and cardinal and gold. It's one of the largest collections of sports gear for both teams anywhere in the state. Mahaska has it all, including the Tyler Sash Foundation collection of Get Better, Not Bitter shirts and wristbands. So who's your favorite team?
Hawkeyes! Cyclones! Hawkeyes! Cyclones!
Let everyone know with Hawkeye and Cyclone merchandise from Mahaska in Oskaloosa. It's big, really big.
Welcome back. In Oskaloosa, the Statesman soccer team heads into the postseason on a high note. In a match against Culver Stockton, Penn dominated on shots with a 24-4 edge, but couldn't find the goal until the second stanza. Unfortunately, the Wildcats were held off the scoreboard the entire game. Junior Victor Cruz, who broke the scoreless tie in the 7th-minute mark after a pass from senior Brandon Nicholson. William Penn opens its postseason this Sunday facing San Ambrose in the quarterfinals of the MCC tournament at 1 p.m.
Also hosting Culver Stockton were the Lady Statesmen, who came away with a little momentum heading into the conference tournament. Junior Emanuela Medellin got her team on the board first in the 15th minute. Then, when the game was knotted up 1-1, the Navy and Gold's only senior, Jordan Davis, finished off a corner kick at the 1-minute mark, helping the ladies slip past Culver Stockton 2-1. The ladies now open up their postseason Saturday, facing Grandview in the quarterfinal conference tournament. Action begins at 1 p.m.
This week, I'm going to talk about something a little more serious, and I don't know if you can say that I'm shocked as much as I am surprised that I haven't heard more in the drive-by media about the explosions that have happened now twice in the last month around soccer fields around the world. About a week ago, it was Iran taking on Saudi Arabia, and a soccer player picked up and tossed off the field what he thought was a rock, as it turned out to be a live grenade exploding just seconds later a few feet from him. Now, last Saturday, again, in Cyprus, a player was down. There were injuries on the field. The trainers were attending to the injuries as another live ordnance is tossed onto the field, and again, it explodes just inches away from them. Now, there's been a huge push in America to try to get everybody to love soccer, and the simple fact is we don't. But there's something about this situation that nobody wants to talk about, and it makes me feel like it's a little Sandusky-esque, if you will. Not in the facts that we have kids as victims, but in a way that we need to focus on the game, not the problems that surround the game. Isn't that what Penn State did? They focused on the game. No matter what sport we need to look at, no matter what level, we have to take into some effect what is happening as a whole. Take other tragic examples would be fans falling from major stadiums to their death, but at least we're talking about them, unlike soccer. You know, with large sports and large amount of people, it's always going to bring increased problems beyond the game that need to be considered. Not talking about these problems only perpetuates them and doesn't solve them. So if you're in the camp that America will eventually love soccer, that's fine. But let's not pretend that there aren't problems on that side of the field either.
That's it for this week's show. Be sure to catch replays of OSP Fridays at 10 p.m., Saturdays at 7 a.m., 10 a.m., and 10 p.m., as well as Sundays at 8 a.m., 11 a.m., and 10 p.m. here on MCG Channel 7. Make sure to watch us and the rest of CRI's programming online at CRITV.org.
For Jason Madison, I'm Jason Van Zett. We'll be back next Friday with a brand new episode of OSP.